Choose your character.
Welcome back to Theater of Circumstance.
In our last episode, we started the process of developing our plot.
We've landed on the idea of 5 New York City roommates who have left and dispersed to their hometowns.
One day, they hear that something calamitous has happened to their elderly landlady while they're gone. They think that they're at fault and desperately have to figure out how to deal with the situation.
This week we're working on developing characters, and we wanted to make sure that each of our characters was distinct. So we wanted to come up with some kind of central analogy that we could base our characters on. So we thought about the themes that we've talked about so far, like voyeurism and containment, and we decided that what we would do is we would each randomly select an animal that might live in or around an apartment building in New York City. And then we chose one of those animals to serve as inspiration for our characters. And just to be clear, we're not actually playing animals, we're using these animals as inspiration.
My very first impression when I thought of a character whose essence is a goldfish.
My character having the essence of a parakeet.
I drew a hairless cat.
My animal was a box turtle.
So my character is based on a squirrel.
My thoughts on being a parakeet. My gesture was inspired by wingspan, so I have my arm outstretched, and I thought about first impressions of parakeets being loud and repetitive.
So my character, as you know, was a squirrel. So at first I was thinking maybe she's hyper, but then the more I thought about it, I thought squirrels aren't necessarily always hyper. And then I came up with the idea that maybe she's very secretive and suspicious, because squirrels like to hide their nuts.
Because I feel like the hairless cat is very judgmental and has an inferiority complex.
My impression of the character based on the box turtle is that there's something that protects or insulates them from some of the conflict that maybe other characters would have to see. And I was wondering if that might be through a relationship or through privilege in some way.
These are great. I'm a goldfish. And my first impression was that this goldfish, he seems sort of bumbling, and everyone kind of thinks of him as sort of bumbling and not really there. But in actuality, he sees and is listening very intensely to everything. I wonder though if the generous side of that, as she gets it done, in watching out for herself, she also is plays a crucial role in this among these housemates.
I think Seth's character is somebody who likes to poke their nose in people's business, and my character hates that. So I think there's a natural conflict between our two characters.
I'm curious about so both the hairless cat and the parakeet have an attention thing, just in different ways.
But then I think of the way a parakeet wants to be heard. So I think the cat is more action, and maybe the parakeet is more words, more verbal.
They're not the person who's going to coddle you when you're struggling with something. They're the person who's going to get your. I see them as tough love.
Characters are friends that met somewhere, or do we think that they're more just random roommates that kind of ended up together, or is it a combination of the two?
Maybe he was in this apartment and other roommates left, and then
And then I moved in. For some reason, I feel like the parakeet and the goldfish would get along well.
Yeah, I see that.
Because they're both like in cages.
Because she like doesn't trust the turtle to communicate. She's like, I don't know what you're saying to her, but I guarantee it's not what we agreed upon. Like,
Is that they often just assume that certain things happen. Like they just assume that things get cleaned. Or they just assume that like somebody calls to get the Wi-Fi set up. Or they just like they assume these things happen and just don't. It just doesn't. Like they don't actually do it. And I think that might be a turtle thing for sure.
Where's everyone else from? I'm trying to figure out where the hairless cat would be from.
From Southern California, 100%.
what are
Something.
characters' jobs? We talk about that. That is a character book. What do they do for a living?
I see just restaurant or like hair salon. Talkative places, talkative outlets.
I think my character is. I think she probably has like a day job doing like as like a receptionist or something. But I think her real passion is that she is in a grunge band.
And I'm also picturing that cat in that turtleneck doing event planning and like up stores and like all these small little things.
Instagram or Twitter or maybe fashion. I don't know. What if we went to the same school?
Now, it's your turn to try this activity.
Think of an animal you might find in or around where you're living now.
If that animal were a human being, how would it take a drink of water?
When you finish, send us a video of what you create.
We can't wait to see what you come up with.